Changed by Rascal Flatts. That song just kind of gets me here all the time. You know, when you think about how far you've come. A good friend, one of my best friends in life, and her husband were here this weekend, and she and I have been friends probably for about 25 years, probably. And we sat and talked for a while last night about where we were at that time in our lives and how far we've come in 25 years, and that neither one of us could imagine the lives that we have now. How happy we are and how blessed we are to still have each other's friendship. And really it's a sisterhood. So it's just been an amazing, amazing weekend. So when I think about journeys, it's just so apropos for Palm Sunday, because Palm Sunday was the beginning of, it's the beginning of our Holy Week. And that was the day that Jesus rode into Jerusalem. And throngs of people were there laying palms and even their clothing on the ground to put down at his feet for him to come into the city. And they were singing praises and singing Hosanna. And this was the beginning of Christ's journey through Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday, into Good Friday, and then Holy Saturday, and then the resurrection. And I looked up Maundy Thursday because I thought, what does that word mean? And it actually comes from the Latin word that means mandate or commandment, because at the Last Supper, Jesus commanded his disciples to love one another. And he said, as I love you, so shall you love one another. And that was his commandment. And so we have this journey that Jesus is on in a triumphant celebration, knowing that there's something coming and that he's being called to something challenging and huge, to give his life. To give his life. And if you read Scripture and you know the story, then you know what that was like. The trial before Pontius Pilate, and then making his way, carrying a cross up to the hill and being crucified. Before that is time in Gethsemane and prayer and grappling with what's coming up. And all of us live those kinds of journeys. And sometimes it feels like we live them more often than we would like. And I think that it's possible for resurrection to rise at the end of each of them if we're willing and if we're open. I don't know when it happened, but at some point I grew to have an affinity for the cross. And I think it started when, I think it was last week I talked about this, when I went to Willow Bend Mall and I walked into that shop where the gentleman who carves those crosses, and I walked in that room and I felt the sacredness of that place because of the gift that he brought to that. And so I started thinking about that, about the cross and about Jesus' journey to that. And if you read the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary that Unity has, the cross simply represents a crossroads. And we all get to a crossroads at some point with something. And I think the pain and the anguish that was referenced even in the daily word for today is about the conflict that we have about where we are and what we're called to. I know I've experienced that many, many times. And most of it was in this journey to doing work like this, probably the last 10 years, where I just fought what I was called to really hard and just struggled with what I was being asked to do. And so when I think of Jesus in Gethsemane, on his knees, thinking about what I'm called to do now, I think, what is it that I'm willing to die to in order to do what I'm called to do? Am I willing to die to something in my life, either something I am, something that I express on a regular basis, some work that I do, some behavior that's maybe not so healthy? What am I willing to walk away from to rise later on? And I personally have had some tough times letting go of some things that I thought I should let go of in order to rise, and in order to say yes, and in order to be in the same place that Jesus was when he said, "Not my will, but yours be done." Because man, there are some days I just didn't want to go there. Really. Because I don't know what's up ahead. We don't know what we're going to be asked to do. And we're afraid of things that we don't know what they look like. And so probably more often than not, especially around this time of year, I think about Jesus in Gethsemane. And what is my personal Gethsemane? What is a place that I get to where I just struggle and fight and think about what I'm being asked to do? What is the place that I get to, that I walk into and just kind of get on my knees, whether actually or metaphorically, and struggle and grapple and argue with Spirit, with God, with the universe? Why me? Why now? Why this way? I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I just went through something. Why are you asking me to go through something again? It's just tough some days. And then I think, if Jesus was a man that could say yes to that, why can't I also say yes? That your will be done, not mine. And what I've experienced through life, and through some of these trials and these fights that I have with myself in my heart, sometimes with tears streaming down my face, sometimes literally on my knees, is that God's will is always for my good. That's what I've experienced. And it was always better than any good I could imagine or make happen on my own steam. And it just happens like that. But we sit and we struggle, and we have these, maybe these spiritual tantrums about what we don't want to do because we think we have a better idea, or we're stuck in a routine or a pattern. I get stuck in patterns, I don't know about you, that I just try to break. Or I break it one day and 2 weeks later I'm back in the same pattern. And I think, man, there I go again. Hearing myself say something I wish I hadn't said. Or something where I'm contracting rather than expanding spiritually in situations, especially in relationships. And so I think, what is it that I need to do to be there? And for me, often, it's thinking of Jesus saying, yes, your will and not mine. Because I think for most of us, all we need to know is that somebody else did, and then we figure, well, I could too. I could too. And I often think now, why not? If I'm called to this, why not? Why not me? Why not now? Why not in this circumstance? Why not again when I just went through something? When you just feel like I'm just able to take a deep breath and feel a little bit relaxed because you feel like you just came through a really difficult time and then you're smack dab in the middle of another one. Why not? Because if we are really divine beings, have a human experience, then we are capable of things we never thought we were capable of before. All things are possible. And if we really have faith and believe in a beneficent, all-powerful, all-knowing God, why don't we trust and walk forward? And say, yes, your will. This is good. It is only for my good. And I might be a little uncomfortable. I might not know what this looks like or feels like it. But yes. And now that song comes up for me again. Use me, O Lord. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Gosh, that song's coming up for me a lot lately. Use me. Yes, I'll go. And I'll let go of my struggle, because we can choose to struggle or not. And unhinge ourselves from the cross so that we can rise and have the light at the end of the tunnel, rather than standing in the dark of the tunnel and wondering what the heck is going on and how long will I be here. I think it's a matter of just saying, I'm willing to rise, to have a personal resurrection. And so Jesus prayed on his knees and prayed. And if he did, why not me? And say, walk me through this. Take me through this. Show me, just like the song, all that I must do. Here I am. I'll go. Simple words, but so hard to say, especially out loud. And I think we have to affirm out loud. And Marilyn, thank you for asking us to say that affirmation out loud, because when we say it out loud, it gives it power. And we do get to feel it in our bodies, don't we? And then you start to feel like, yes, this is me. This is who I am, a spiritual being, a being who can rise through whatever, whenever, however it needs to happen. So we stop contracting into ourselves, our human selves, and denying what we truly are and what we're called to be. Whatever that is in any given moment. And it's usually just to be love. In whatever circumstance. Loving everyone we're in relationship with, loving those we don't know, loving ourselves fully enough to say yes and rise. But in our humanness, we often have to take that journey into Gethsemane and get on our knees and let go of all of our doubts and our fears and our humanness and the pain and whatever we've carried into the garden. And that's okay, I think. And it must be, because I do it on a regular basis. And shed whatever it is you're carrying, whatever baggage you're coming forward with, that I think and I feel in my heart that Spirit wants us to shed. All the stuff that we hold on to, that we need to let go of and throw off of us so that we can rise. To be everything we were created to be. Everything that we were created to be. Every inch of it. Fully expanded, arms wide open, hearts wide open, mind expanded. In our divinity. Jesus walked into his divinity, expressing it fully, and showed us the way. Showed us how to do it. Go into prayer. Let it go. Lay everything before Spirit. And say, this is what I'm showing up with. And yes, your will, not mine. Take me where you want to take me. It's no small thing. It's not. But it is fully within our divine capacity. All of it. We were given dominion over all the earth. Over ourselves, our hearts and our minds. We just don't always exercise it. We just don't always affirm that or remember that when we get in the middle of our pain and our doubts and our fears. And so again, it's about finding something, whatever the practice is, whether it's your prayer practice, your meditation practice, your living, your some kind of physical practice, whatever it is that reminds you of who you are and your divine capacity to move through whatever is laid at your feet and rise. And rise. Don't get stuck in the pain and the difficulty and the crises that we see. They're only opportunities to love more. The Course in Miracles teaches that. They're only opportunities. Opportunities for us to say yes and realize who we truly are. So are we willing to rise and shed our stuff? I know so many people who don't want to get on their knees anymore because they don't want to humble themselves. I think you choose wisely what you humble yourself to and surrender to. For me, that's Spirit. And there are some days when I know I've been so overwrought with the pain and the crises I was in that I was literally on my knees. There was no standing in the middle of it. But what I found is that in that when I humble myself and surrender to Spirit, the capacity to rise only gets bigger. And your experience of God in that moment is only more palpable and strong and all-encompassing and overwhelming. I have goosebumps thinking about it. Because every single time I do it, and you don't have to do it like I do, find the way that you do it, but let go and say, I'm here, I'm open. Yes. And now show me how. I'll go, show me how. And throughout your day, you say it again. Show me now how to do this. What do I say? What do I do? What do I not say? How do I show up? What do I need to see? Open my eyes so that I see what you're bringing to me, so that I see the good you're flooding into my life. Because again, if we believe in an all-powerful, all-loving, beneficent God, then it is all for our good. So ask. Ask and it shall be given. Show me what it looks like, what it is, so I can see it and walk towards it. Think about what it is you need to let go of. What it is you're willing to die to step into your personal resurrection. And ask every day. Because in our humanness, there's probably something we need to shed again. Or something new that crops up that we didn't know existed for us. I find stuff like that from time to time. So we've got 6 days until Easter. And instead of getting caught up in the commercial side of it, the Easter baskets, new clothes if we're still doing that. You remember getting excited about Easter dresses? My mom used to buy us white gloves and pocketbooks and new shoes and socks. And hats, yes. Remember Easter hats? Yes. And I got stuck in all of that, the outer things that represented Easter. You know, the commercialization of things. And we forget about the gift of Holy Week and what it can remind us about and how we can make a personal commitment to let go and then rise. And every single day of your week, you can rise. Every single day of your life, you can rise and shine. So my prayer for you is that you rise. Because I would love to get to watch it and see you each shine like the bright lights that I know that you are. And do the work that I know you're all called to do. It's an honor for me to be a part of this. I want you to feel the honor of that as well, and how special you are, and how special the work is that you have to do today and every single day. So let's take this into meditation. Take another deep breath. Breathe in the breath of life, the breath of God. And here in this moment, bring to top of mind the thing or things that you need to die to this week. that you need to shed and let go of. The things that you've been holding on to with both hands. White-knuckled, teeth gritting, just not willing to take the leap. Just call them to mind and hold them there. Look at it fully. Feel whatever it is that you need to feel in this moment around whatever it is that you're now holding in mind and in your heart. Look at it, see it, feel it. And say to it in your heart and in your mind, I'm letting you go. Say goodbye to it. Say goodbye to the you that needed to hold it. Whether you held it for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, or a lifetime. Say goodbye to it. Take another deep breath. And try to call up a feeling of resurrection, of rising. See yourself doing that which you are called to do. Get a picture of that person, that divine being. Called to another level of expression every single day. Your personal resurrection. Take another deep breath. Knowing that this divine being is you at your core. This is who you are. Breathe life into that being. Knowing that you can call them into expression at any given time. Spirit, we thank you for all that we are and all that you call us to be. We give thanks for all of the gifts within us that exist right now, that are right at our fingertips, so that we can make it so and manifest it in the world for our good and the good of all. Thank you for strength and power, unlimited power. Take another deep breath, feeling the feeling of power that is you, firmly rooted in your divinity. And let's sit in the silence. Slowly begin to return to the room. When you're ready, open your eyes.